So, all right, the big question everybody wants to know, how good is Jalen Brooks? How quickly can Jalen Brooks make an impact? And what should you, as a South Carolina fan watching or listening, expect from Jalen Brooks both Saturday and long-term this season and long-term for the rest of his career at South Carolina? It really works out that this season doesn't count for the guys, so he's able to come back. He'll play, but he'll still be a junior next year. He can get in 6 games with South Carolina and then sort of go from there. But I'll give my take in a second. Chris, I'm going to ask you the most open-ended question I've ever asked you. How good is Jalen Brooks?
I don't know if that's the most open-ended. There's got to be another one, but close. So here's how I think about it. Because there's been so much conversation about it, and because Jalen Brooks was penciled in, before this season as a starter, and because we've heard some good things about his game, my fear, I guess you could say, is that some people are going to expect too much. We talked about this with recruiting the other day, right? 4- and 5-star kid coming in, depending on the position. If he's not immediately playing 60 snaps and, if he's a defensive lineman, he needs to get a sack his first game. If he's, wide receiver, he needs to score a touchdown the first game or have 5 catches. And if not, then, is he a whiff? You know what I mean? It's a microwave type society. And that's fine. I mean, people are really die hard about college football. That's great. That's why we're here. So I'm glad about that. But I do want to caution, because South Carolina is getting a guy who has starter capability on this team, don't set the bar so high that it's automatically this guy's going to come in and be Alshon Jeffrey or something. I don't want people to think that. Now, what can he bring? What are the positives? He's a kid with length who can run. We talk about vertical presence for South Carolina. That's what they're lacking. Aside from Shi Smith, we've seen very few deep balls. I think 3 for 12 is the updated metric past 20 yards for South Carolina. There have been a variety of reasons for that. Xavier Legette won one 50-50 ball. Not a lot of 50-50 balls or deep balls being won by South Carolina. So that's an area in which Jalen Brooks can help out. Even if he's not out there catching several of them, he can threaten the defense vertically, which could open things up. So far, Mike Bobo's had to do that more schematically. Now you have an additional guy on the roster who can potentially help you with that. He's also someone that I think could play a key role in special teams. Go put him out there as a gunner, cover kicks, cover punts. He's got the speed and the length to be able to do that as well. Will he start this weekend? I don't know. They have had to keep in mind that he's not eligible to date, that he may not become eligible. So they have had to give other guys a lot of opportunities in practice because they need the Josh Vans and Xavier Legettes and DeCarrion Joiners. They need all those guys to improve too. But I could see his role increasing throughout the season. And at one point, man, there's a reason for it, that he was working with the ones. So long kid that can run. I think he gives South Carolina a vertical presence and could go snag a deep ball or two for them. And anything that he can add to this receiver core is a positive in my book.
Well, now that you've given the conservative answer, I'm going to go ahead and just overhype him completely.
Oh, are you?
And go against everything you just said.
Great. I like it.
But in all seriousness, I don't want to go too far because it's not fair, especially considering he didn't have an entire offense or an entire offseason to get settled with the offense.
Yep.
Then, like you said, the fact that, he hasn't been able to work completely with the ones, like against a scout team and stuff like that. But the single biggest question mark for this South Carolina football team for the entire offseason and now, frankly, for the first 4 games has been the wide receiver position. So I don't think it's even that far-fetched at all. In fact, I would say very comfortably, I think Jalen Brooks can immediately become South Carolina's number 2 wide receiver. Shi Smith has sort of established himself. We've all seen what he can do. We've all seen the ability there. But there is, as you said, a reason why he instantly stepped in and started being talked about as a starter. So will he start Saturday? I don't know. We'll see. And Muschamp was actually asked that on the teleconference. Will he start? And because the news was basically so fresh for them as well, he had just gotten off the practice fields. He hadn't even sat down with the offensive staff to talk about the plan now that Brooks is eligible. So that's something, Chris, maybe we find out a little bit more on the call-in show on Thursday. Maybe not. But I think at the very least, conservatively, we can say he will be on the field a lot on Saturday. And I'm not going to be surprised if he just starts. So we'll see. I think this is obviously a positive development for the receiving core. We saw a little flash from Josh Vann on Saturday as well. And I've also heard some really good things all of a sudden about Jakari Caldwell as being someone who has made some plays in practice. You're always with a freshman looking at someone to show they know the offense very, very well. That's the hardest part of that aspect of it for a freshman. So we'll see if Jakari can continue to come on. But the physical aspect for Jakari, it's there. He's making plays in practice. He's a guy to watch. So maybe as the year goes on, the receiving core can sort of come on. It's never going to be the strength of this team, but maybe it can elevate itself from being the spot we're talking about every single week as being one of the lesser thought of spots on this team.